All this week, we're marking 5 years since Hurricane Harvey devastated the Gulf Coast.
Yeah, and so a question that gets asked about Harvey a lot is, did climate change cause that monster storm? Meteorologist Anthony Yanez says that is not the question to ask. He joins us with the right question we should be asking. Hey, Anthony.
Hey, Amy. First of all, climate change did not cause Harvey, but the correct question to ask is, how did a warmer world influence Harvey? One of the emerging discoveries with climate change is what's called attribution science, determining how much human-induced greenhouse gases increases the likelihood of an event. In this case with Harvey, how did global warming affect this storm? Since 2015, the World Weather Attribution Initiative, WAA, has been conducting attribution analysis of extreme weather events as they happen around the world. Harvey's reign is as extreme as it gets.
We wouldn't have had this type of extreme with rainfall without the boost of climate change.
After an extreme weather event occurs, scientists gather data on the frequency and magnitude of the event, comparing it to historical observations. They then run two identical climate models. The first model uses data from our climate 150 years ago, or what's called a counterfactual environment. The second model is a suite of more than 20 models that tweak different levels of carbon dioxide as they exist today. They are then compared.
What we can actually do is go into individual extreme weather events and dissect the role of climate change within that event. It doesn't mean that climate change necessarily caused that event, but did it make it stronger? How much stronger?
This analysis by Climate Central found that climate change made 3-day rain amounts from Harvey 3 times more likely and 15% more intense. Harvey is considered a 1 in 1,000-year event. In fact, in the last 30 days in the United States, we've seen 5 1 in 1,000-year events from St. Louis, Eastern Kentucky, Southern Illinois, Death Valley to Dallas earlier in the week. Flooding of this level has a probability of 0.1% per year. Climate change is amplifying the flooding because warmer air holds more moisture, 4% more per 1 degree of Fahrenheit warming.
Warmer oceans allow more evaporation. A warmer atmosphere is thirsty. It wants to hold more water vapor. The more water vapor you have in the atmosphere, that's what gives you the potential for these really big rain events like we've seen this year and like Houston saw back with Harvey.
Now, attribution science, like weather forecasting, is not a perfect science. The models do not take into effect other risks like urban development, population growth, more concrete, subsidence, and even bad luck. Harvey went over the warmest waters in the Gulf of Mexico, 86 degrees, 160 feet deep in that one stream where it was going. Even Superstorm Sandy hit at a full moon during high tide, so that made it worse.
All those things make a difference.
And they all make a difference. But the overall discussion of this is what role are greenhouse gases playing with these storms, and all of the evidence showing they're having an effect. They're making them stronger. They're bringing more rain.
Yeah.
Okay. And they're able to do this by taking the data that they have and then tweaking it. So it's like, like a simulation that they run repeatedly?
It's really incredible because it starts with basically they look at all the historical data, how many hurricanes we have, how strong are they, and we have these records going back to 1850. And what they do is they have that data, and then they go back to what was the environment like, what were our CO2 amounts 150 years ago. And so they have that information. And now what they do is, here's what we know today. This is how much carbon dioxide we have in the atmosphere. And so they play with this number here, and then they compare it to what's called that counterfactual 150-year ago environment. And what they're finding is these storms are much stronger, even though they should be like this level. They're like this because of greenhouse gases.
That's the one variable that they can see changing
Yes.
a lot. What do they do with this data then? Do they take it? They obviously get to publish some articles. Are they sharing it with certain groups that we know about or government agencies?
Well, it's brand new, and so it just started in 2015. But what they're finding with this is they're looking at all these extreme events, and we're seeing those. We're seeing this massive flooding, things we have never seen before. And then when they play with this attribution science and they look at the different modeling here, what they're finding is what they're doing is they're saying, hey, we now have direct evidence that by warming the planet, we are making these storms worse. We're making more extreme weather. We're making these things more dangerous, more deadly, and we have to do something to change this.
And then the question is what, and that's why you have to get this discussion started to that next point.
Right. Just interesting, like the last 5 days that you were saying that we had, or the 1 in 1,000
Your
chance.
events.
That's crazy.
Major rain events.
1% of those happening in any given year, and we have 5 in a week.
Yeah.
Or 5 in a month, sorry, in 30 days.
That's a lot. Yeah, that's in a month.